The stars stretched endlessly before me, a tapestry of twinkling lights that hinted at the vastness of the universe. I stood aboard the spaceship Lotus, my hands resting on the cool metal railing of the observation deck. It was hard to believe that just days ago, I had received a communication from the Galactic Council, inviting humanity to join their intergalactic alliance. Excitement bubbled within me, but it was quickly tempered by a weight of apprehension. This was not just an opportunity, it was a responsibility that could determine the fate of our species. Captain Lefebvre. The voice of my first officer, Janelle, broke through my reverie. I turned to see her approach, her expression serious. We've received the latest updates from the Council. They're expecting us to present our capabilities during the initial meeting. I nodded, my heart racing. Thank you, Janelle. I was just thinking about it. This is our chance to show them what humanity can do. I felt a surge of determination but also the cold grip of doubt. What if they found us lacking? What if my leadership wasn't enough? Just remember, they're not the only ones who'll be judging us, she said, a hint of a smirk on her lips. You've got this, Captain. Right, I replied, forcing a smile. I'll meet with Camille in the lab. We need to discuss the Vorax threat in detail and how we plan to combat it. As I made my way to the lab, my thoughts drifted to Camille Dubois, our chief scientist. She was brilliant, a mind that had grasped the intricacies of alien technology like no one else. I had faith in her abilities, but the Vorax were a formidable foe. They were a race known for their insatiable hunger, consuming entire planets and leaving nothing but desolation in their wake. I could only hope that we could contribute something valuable to the Alliance. Upon entering the lab, the familiar scent of antiseptic and metal greeted me. Camille was hunched over a holographic display, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Emile," she exclaimed, looking up. "You won't believe what I've found." "What is it?" I asked, stepping closer to the glowing display. Images of intricate machinery and strange symbols flickered before my eyes. "I'd been analyzing the remnants of Vorax technology," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. "If we can understand how their systems work, we might be able to devise a defense strategy or even weaponize their technology against them." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Are you suggesting we turn their own tools against them?" "Exactly," she replied, her eyes sparkling. "If we can get our hands on their tech, we could reverse engineer it. Imagine if we could disrupt their communications or even their energy sources." I could feel a wave of hope wash over me. That could be the key to humanity's survival. But we need to present this information to the Council. They need to see that we're not just a liability. Camille nodded, her expression turning serious. "They will want proof, Emile. We have to show them that we can innovate and adapt. Otherwise, they might see us as unworthy of joining the Alliance." Just then, the ship's intercom crackled to life, announcing our approach to the Council's headquarters. My heart raced again, this time with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. I exchanged a glance with Camille, who offered a reassuring smile. "We'll figure it out together," she said, placing a hand on my shoulder. "We have to believe in ourselves." As we arrived at the Council's headquarters, a massive space station orbiting a swirling gas giant, I couldn't shake the feeling of being an outsider. The station loomed ahead, a marvel of engineering and design, but it also felt intimidating. I took a deep breath, adjusting my uniform as we prepared to disembark. The moment we stepped onto the station, I was struck by the diversity of life forms surrounding us. Representatives from various alien races moved with purpose, their unique features and technology a stark reminder of the vastness of the universe. Each of them possessed abilities and knowledge far beyond my comprehension. I couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation as I navigated through the throng. "Stay focused, Emile," I muttered to myself. "This is our moment." As we approached the central meeting hall, I felt the weight of their gazes upon us. Murmurs filled the air, a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. It was clear that we had much to prove. Would they see us as allies, or merely as a species in need of saving? The thought sent a chill down my spine. "Ready?" Camille asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "As ready as I'll ever be," I replied, steeling myself for what was to come. Together, we stepped forward, determined to make our mark on this new chapter for humanity. The atmosphere in the council chamber was thick with skepticism as I stood before the representatives of various alien races. Their eyes, each a different shade and shape, bore into me, questioning our worthiness to join the alliance. I could feel the weight of humanity's future resting on my shoulders. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of curiosity and disdain. I cleared my throat, determined to break through the tension. Esteemed members of the council, I began, my voice steady. I understand your doubts regarding our capabilities. We are a young species, still finding our place among the stars. But I believe that humanity possesses a unique resilience and ingenuity that can complement your strengths. A murmur rippled through the room, and I could see Camille shifting beside me, her brow furrowed in concentration. She had always been my anchor, her scientific brilliance rivaling any technology these aliens had to offer. I continued, fueled by her presence. I propose a series of tests, challenges that will allow us to demonstrate our skills and our commitment to this alliance. The council members leaned in, intrigued. One of them, a tall creature with shimmering scales named Kthar, raised a spindly hand. And what makes you think we should grant you this opportunity? Your history is riddled with conflict and division. Every species has its flaws, I replied, meeting his gaze. But we learn from our mistakes. We've fought wars and faced extinction, yet we rise again. Let us show you what we can achieve when united. After a moment of deliberation, the council nodded, and Kthar spoke again. Very well, Captain Lefebvre. We shall allow you the chance to prove yourselves. Prepare for the first challenge. The tension in the chamber eased slightly as I exchanged a glance with Camille, a spark of determination igniting between us. We were ready to prove our worth. The first challenge was a simulated battle against Vorex drones. As we entered the training arena, the atmosphere shifted, the air crackling with anticipation. I gathered our team, which included Camille and a few other skilled representatives from our ship. Listen up, I called, my voice echoing against the metallic walls. We're up against Vorex drones. They're relentless and designed to adapt to our strategies. We need to think on our feet and leverage the alien technology available to us. Camille stepped forward, her eyes shining with excitement. I've been analyzing the drones' movements. If we can create a diversion, we might be able to outmaneuver them. Good thinking, Camille, I said, feeling a surge of pride. Let's use a combination of stealth and distraction. We'll split into two teams, one will create a diversion while the other flanks from the side. As we prepared, I could feel the pressure mounting. The alien technology was advanced, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were at a disadvantage. The countdown began, and I felt adrenaline coursing through my veins. The moment the simulation started, chaos erupted. Drones whirred to life, their mechanical limbs glinting under the harsh lights. I shouted commands, trying to keep everyone focused. Camille worked tirelessly at the control panel, her fingers flying over the alien interface. Emile! They're adapting too quickly, she shouted, her voice laced with urgency. I know! We need to change our approach. I replied, frustration creeping into my tone. Just as we began to find our rhythm, an unexpected explosion rocked the simulation arena. I turned to see Star, one of the council representatives, smirking from the shadows. Humans have no place in this alliance, he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. You'll fail, just as you always have. Why are you doing this? I challenged, stepping towards him. This is a test for all of us. Star crossed his arms, his expression cold. Because I believe you are unworthy. You should not be allowed to join forces with us. The drones continued their relentless assault, and I could see panic spreading among my team. Everyone, regroup! I yelled, trying to rally them. We've come too far to let this sabotage stop us. As the chaos intensified, I couldn't shake the feeling that Star had a deeper agenda. My mind raced, trying to piece together his motivations. In the midst of the mayhem, Camille caught my eye, her resolve unbroken. We can't give up, she urged, her voice steady. We need to adapt. Let's use the technology in ways they don't expect. With her encouragement, I formulated a new plan. All right, team. Let's turn the tables on them. We'll create a coordinated attack that uses both distraction and strategic movements. We can do this. With a renewed sense of purpose, we dove back into the fray, determined to prove our worth against the odds. The battle was far from over, and as we fought against the drones, I knew that our resilience as humans was about to be tested like never before. As I stared at the holographic display flickering in the center of the command room, a mix of frustration and determination surged through me. Camille was pacing back and forth, her brow furrowed with concentration. We had just suffered a brutal setback. Star's sabotage had not only thwarted our first challenge but also put our very existence in the Alliance at jeopardy. Emil, we can't just let this slide. Star is rallying the Council against us. We need to show them that we can innovate, that we can think outside the box, Camille said, her voice steady but urgent. I nodded, feeling the weight of her words. What do you propose we do? We can't just charge in guns blazing. We need a plan that showcases our ingenuity. Camille stopped pacing and turned to face me, her eyes sparkling with inspiration. What if we create a device that disrupts the Vorex communication signals? If we can cut them off from their hive mind, we might just turn the tide in our favor. The idea resonated with me. That could work. If we can isolate a Vorex unit and disrupt their coordination, we could prove our worth to the Council. With a renewed sense of purpose, we gathered our team. I could feel the tension in the air as I looked around at the faces of my crew. Some were anxious, others were still reeling from the earlier chaos. Listen up, everyone. I called out, trying to rally their spirits. Star may have thrown us off course, but we're not out of this fight yet. Camille has an idea that could demonstrate our capabilities to the Council. Are you sure it will work? Asked Rena, our weapons specialist, her skepticism evident. Nothing is guaranteed, but I believe in this team, I replied, meeting her gaze. We have to blend our human creativity with the advanced technology we've been exposed to. Together, we can devise something remarkable. As the team began brainstorming, I felt a spark of hope rekindle within me. We split into smaller groups, each tackling different components of the device. Camille and I huddled over a console, examining schematics of Vorex technology. If we can manipulate their frequency, we might be able to send out a pulse strong enough to jam their signals, she explained, her fingers dancing over the touch interface. Let's test it with a small prototype first. We need to keep it mobile. We don't know how the Vorex will respond, I suggested. The plan took shape, and as hours turned to days, the atmosphere shifted from uncertainty to determination. Finally, after a relentless push, we had a prototype ready. The device was compact, resembling a metallic cube embedded with wires and glowing panels. I felt a surge of pride as I examined it. This is it. Now we need to test it in a real confrontation. Camille's expression turned serious. Emil, we have to be careful. If this fails, we might not get a second chance. I know, I replied, the weight of her concerns sinking in. But we have little choice. Star is gaining allies in the Council, and if we don't act soon, we'll lose our opportunity to prove ourselves. As we prepped for the test, an unsettling feeling gnawed at my gut. I had just discovered that Star was convincing other Council members to reconsider humanity's participation. My heart raced as I realized the stakes were even higher than I had anticipated. Camille, we need to face the Vorex directly. It's the only way to prove our worth to the Council and to stop Star's machinations, I declared, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions within me. She looked at me, concern etched into her features. You mean expose ourselves to the Vorex? Emil, that's incredibly risky. Risk is part of the game. We have to show them that humanity can stand toe-to-toe with the Vorex, that we can not only survive but thrive against them, I urged, my resolve hardening with each word. All right, she finally said, determination shining in her eyes. Let's prepare ourselves. We're going to show them what humanity is capable of. As we finished our preparations, I could feel the collective energy of my team surging. We were on the brink of something monumental. The Vorax had to know that humanity was not to be underestimated. We would face them, and we would fight for our place in the galaxy. The atmosphere on the Lotus was thick with anticipation as we hurtled toward the uncharted sector. I stood in the command chair, my heart racing with a blend of fear and determination. The starfield around us whirred past, ethereal and silent, a stark contrast to the chaos we were about to face. "Emil, are you sure about this?" Camille's voice broke through my thoughts, a mix of concern and resolve. I turned to her, seeing the fire in her hazel eyes. "We need to intercept the Vorax scout ship. This is our chance to show the Council what humanity is capable of." She nodded, biting her lip. "Just remember, we're not equipped like they are. We can't rely solely on firepower." "Agreed," I said, glancing at the status monitor. "But with your prototype device, we might just stand a chance." I could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on us, the stakes higher than ever. As we approached the coordinates, a blip appeared on the radar. "There it is," I said, narrowing my eyes. "Prepare for engagement." My palms were sweaty against the console, and I could sense the tension rippling through the crew. "Activating the device now," Camille said, her fingers dancing over the controls. The lights flickered ominously as she initiated the prototype. "Let's hope it works." A moment later, the Vorax scout ship came into view, a grotesque metallic beast, its hull glistening darkly against the stars. Camille's device hummed to life, sending a pulse of interference toward the enemy vessel. A jolt of energy surged through the Lotus, and I felt my heart leap in my chest as the Vorax ship staggered. "It's working!" Camille exclaimed, her excitement infectious. The Vorax systems were in disarray, flashing warning lights and alarms blaring. "Now's our chance. Let's board!" I commanded, adrenaline coursing through me. We maneuvered our ship closer, magnetic clamps locking onto the hull of the Vorax vessel. We donned our gear and prepared to breach their ship. Camille and I led the way, hearts pounding in unison as we stepped through the airlock. The interior was dim and sprawling, shadows lurking in every corner. I could feel the unease settle over the team as we moved deeper inside. The first thing that hit me was the stench, burnt metal mixed with something organic and foul. My stomach churned, but I steeled myself. "Stay sharp," I whispered, my voice barely above a breath. As we moved through the corridors, we stumbled upon a chamber filled with holoscreens displaying images that would haunt me for the rest of my life. Planets consumed, entire civilizations reduced to nothing. I gasped, feeling Camille's hand grip my arm tightly. "What kind of monsters are they?" she breathed, her voice trembling. "Monsters we need to stop," I replied, my voice steadying. "This is why we're here. We have to gather evidence and—" A loud clang echoed through the hall, interrupting my thoughts. I turned, instincts kicking in as I raised my weapon. "Get ready!" I ordered. But before we could react, Star and a group of alien enforcers appeared, their faces twisted into malicious grins. "What a surprise to find you here, humans," Star sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. I clenched my jaw. "We're not afraid of you, Star," I shot back, trying to suppress the fear clawing at my insides. "We know what you're up to." "Oh, do you?" He stepped closer, eyes glinting with malice. "You think you can stop the Vorax? You're merely pawns in a game far beyond your comprehension." "We're not pawns," Camille interjected, her voice rising. "We're humanity, and we fight for our survival." Star laughed, a cold, humorless sound. "Survival? You're already doomed. The Vorax will consume your world just as they have done with countless others." "Not if we have anything to say about it," I growled, adrenaline surging as I raised my weapon. "We won't let you destroy us." "Brave words," he taunted, motioning to his allies. "But you're outnumbered." As they lunged, chaos erupted. I fired, the blaster's beam slicing through the air, hitting one of Star's enforcers squarely in the chest. The creature crumpled, and I could hear the alarmed shouts of my team behind me. "Camille, activate the device!" I shouted, dodging a blow from another alien. She was already working on it, her fingers flying over her console. Just a moment. The tension in the air was electric, I could feel the odds shifting. "Emil," she yelled, panic creeping into her voice. "They're coming for us. Hold your ground." I roared, determination igniting within me as I fought off another attacker. The battle was intense, each moment filled with the clang of metal and the cries of my team. As we fought, I couldn't shake the feeling that Star had been waiting for us, that this ambush had been part of a larger plan. The truth felt just out of reach, shrouded in shadows as we desperately sought to survive this encounter. The moment we escaped the ambush, I felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with desperation. The Lotus shook violently as the damaged systems groaned under the stress of evading both the Vorax and Star-S forces. I turned to Camille, who was already seated at the console, her fingers dancing over the controls, attempting to stabilize our trajectory. "Emil, we need to reroute power from the shields to the engines," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding us. "If we don't get out of here fast, we'll be sitting ducks." "Right," I replied, my mind racing. "But we can't leave without addressing Star. He's the real threat here." I glanced at the view screen, where the distant outline of the Vorax ship loomed, a monstrous predator waiting for its next meal. Camille nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I agree, but we need a plan. We can't just go in guns blazing. Star has the advantage of surprise." I took a deep breath, letting the weight of the situation settle on my shoulders. What if we use their technology against them? Star thinks he has us cornered, but if we can lure him into a trap, my voice trailed off as an idea began to form. "Yes." Camille's eyes lit up. "We can create a signal that mimics Vorax communication patterns. If we project it from a nearby asteroid field, Star might think he's found a new ally." "Exactly," I said, feeling a flicker of hope. "Let's get to work." As we set our trap, I couldn't shake the growing unease in my gut. The thought of confronting Star, the very representative who had undermined our efforts, filled me with a mix of dread and determination. We had to expose his betrayal to the Council, and for that, we needed evidence. Once we finished configuring the signal device, we maneuvered the Lotus into position, hiding behind the jagged edges of the asteroid field. I could feel my heart pounding as I initiated the signal. "Now we wait," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Minutes felt like hours as we sat in silence, the tension thick in the air. Finally, a blip appeared on my radar, a ship approaching, unmistakably marked with Star-S insignia. "It's him," Camille said, her voice a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Get ready." I swallowed hard, trying to calm my racing heart. "Let's hope he takes the bait." As Star-S ship drew closer, I activated the signal, and a distorted version of Vorax communication rang through the ship. I could see Star-S ship responding, its course shifting erratically as it investigated the source. "Now, Emil," Camille urged. I engaged the thrusters, propelling us out from behind the asteroids. We emerged directly in Star-S path, and his ship's sensors detected us, flashing warning lights. "Star!" I shouted over the comms, my voice echoing in the cockpit. "You've been deceived. The Vorax are using you." He responded with a sneer, his voice dripping with disdain. "Humans, always so naive. You think your little trick will save you? The Vorax are power, and I will be their harbinger." I gritted my teeth, fighting the urge to lunge at him through the screen. "You're wrong, Star. They'll consume you just like they do every other civilization. You're a pawn in a game far beyond your understanding." "I'm no pawn," he shot back, fury sparking in his eyes. "I will rise above all of you. The Vorax will grant me dominion over this alliance." In that moment, anger and realization surged within me. "You think they'll grant you power? They'll betray you the moment you outlive your usefulness. We need to unite against them, not serve them." His laughter echoed through the comms, cold and mocking. "You are blind to the truth, Captain. And soon, you will be dead." As Star-S ship powered up its weapons, I felt the weight of our situation crash down on me. "Camille, we need to get out of here." I shouted, adrenaline pumping through my veins. We barely managed to evade the first volley of fire, the ship shuddering as we maneuvered through the asteroid field. We can't let him get away. We need to. Emil, look! Camille interrupted, her voice filled with urgency. The Vorax ships were closing in, drawn by the escalating chaos. I knew we had to escape, but Star's obsession with power had put us all in jeopardy. Prepare for evasive action, I commanded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. We had to survive this, if not for ourselves, then for the future of humanity in this alliance. The metallic walls of the council chamber felt like they were closing in on me as I stood before what remained of the council members. Camille stood beside me, her expression a mixture of determination and anxiety. We had only moments to convince them of Star's betrayal and the imminent threat the Vorax posed. Listen, we have evidence, I began, my voice steady despite the chaos outside. Star is in league with the Vorax. We need to act now before it's too late. I gestured toward the holographic display, where images of the Vorax devastation flickered ominously. The council members shifted uneasily, their eyes darting from the images to each other. Captain Lefebvre, one of the representatives, a tall figure with shimmering skin and elongated limbs, spoke with an air of skepticism. You expect us to take the word of a human? Your kind has already shown a propensity for failure. Failure? Camille interjected, her voice rising with passion. We've faced challenges you can't even begin to comprehend. Star has been sabotaging our efforts from the start. We've seen the destruction the Vorax leave in their wake. If we don't unite against them, we'll all be consumed. The tension in the room was palpable. A murmur of doubt rippled through the gathered representatives. I could see Star's smug face in the back of the chamber, flanked by his supporters. He was undoubtedly crafting his counterattack, ready to undermine our claims. Suddenly, the alarms blared, shaking the chamber with an intensity that sent vibrations through my bones. Vorax attack, a voice shouted from the hall. Panic erupted, and the lights flickered ominously as the council members scrambled for cover. Emil, we need to get out of here. Camille shouted, her eyes wide with fear. No, I replied, gripping her wrist firmly. We can't abandon them. We have to fight. Just then, a figure cloaked in shadows emerged from the chaos, moving with purpose toward us. As the Vorax forces breached the chamber, the mysterious figure stepped forward, revealing themselves to be a former Vorax scientist. Stop, they commanded, their voice resonating with a strange authority. The room fell silent, the council members frozen in shock. Who are you? Star sneered, his bravado faltering for the first time. I am Dr. Varen, the figure announced, their voice echoing with both fear and resolve. I once served the Vorax, but I have seen the horrors of their path and cannot remain silent. You must listen to me. The Vorax forces surged into the chamber, but Dr. Varen raised their hands, and a wave of energy pulsed outward, temporarily disabling several attacking drones. The Vorax are not a natural species. They are the consequence of an experiment gone wrong, an attempt by the Alliance to create a new energy source. We unleashed the Vorax upon the universe. The revelation struck like a thunderbolt. I exchanged a glance with Camille, realizing the gravity of what was being said. What do you mean? I asked, my mind racing to grasp the implications. The Vorax were created, not born. They were meant to be a solution, but they turned into a consuming force, a reflection of our own greed and ambition, Varen explained, their eyes filled with a sorrow that transcended species. Humanity's creativity, your resilience, is what can save them. You must help us change their course. Change their course? Star scoffed, but his voice trembled as the Vorax drones continued to assault the chamber. They are monsters. They are victims of our own making, Varen shot back. And if we don't unite to stop this cycle of destruction, we will all face annihilation. As the drones advanced, I felt a surge of determination. We can't let Star dictate our future. Camille, we need to rally the council. Dr. Varen, can you help us utilize the Vorax technology against them? Yes, Varen affirmed, their eyes gleaming with a newfound hope. Together, we can create a device that not only disrupts their systems but also sends a signal of peace, showing the Vorax there is another way. Then let's do it, I declared, gripping Camille's shoulder. We'll show them that humanity can lead, not through destruction but through innovation and unity. In that moment, amidst the chaos and fear, I felt a spark of hope ignite within me. We would fight not just for our survival, but for the chance to redeem a lost species and forge a new future among the stars. With our combined strength, we would turn the tide, and perhaps, just perhaps, find a way to coexist.